welcome to the Midday Update. These are the top headlines from our newsroom today. Supreme Committee bans movement of vehicles and people. Muscat Governorate'S drive-through vaccine service suspended. Oman opens COVID-19 vaccination for people aged over 45. Change in timing at vaccination centers due to movement ban. Only Omani citizens to get free vaccines at OCEC. Matra Margate prohibits entry of children as well as elderly. UK reports over 10,000 COVID-19 cases for third consecutive day. Head of India's Premier Health Institute warns of new COVID-19 wave. German ENVOY fears fourth wave of COVID-19 in the country. Hungary digs deep to draw France at Euro 2020. These were the top headlines from our newsroom today. Let's see how the weather condition looks like in the Sultanate in our weather update.
This is Untitled Chapter with today's weather update, and right now I'm reporting from inside the TFM studio in Al Khoir. Before we move on to our weather update, here is our fact for the day. Raindrops come in many sizes but travel quickly. Some rain falls at more than 30 kilometers per hour. That is our fact for the day. Now let's take a look at how the weather will be like in the Sultanate. According to Oman Meteorology and Civil Aviation Authorities, there will be clear to partly cloudy skies along the coastal areas of the Dhafar with intermittent drizzle. And there will be mainly clear skies in the rest of the Sultanate with chances of cloud development over Al Hajar Mountains. There's also chances of late night to early morning low-level clouds or fog patches along the coastal areas of the Arabian Sea. And now let's take a look at how the weather will be like in all the governorates. Muscat will be sunny, temperatures between 39 to 27 degrees Celsius. Musandam will be sunny, temperatures between 43 to 32 degrees Celsius. North Al-Batana will be partly cloudy, temperatures between 36 to 28 degrees Celsius. South Al-Batana will experience thunder showers, temperatures between 40 to 27 degrees Celsius. Al-Buraimi will experience sandstorm, temperatures between 42 to 33 degrees Celsius. Al-Dhahira will experience thunder showers, temperatures between 44 to 33 degrees Celsius. Al-Dakhiliya will have thunder showers, temperatures between 45 to 30 degrees Celsius. North Al-Sharqiyya will have thunder showers, temperatures between 44 to 29 degrees Celsius. South Al-Sharqiyya will be sunny, temperatures between 34 to 28 degrees Celsius. Al-Wusta will experience sandstorm, temperatures between 45 to 27 degrees Celsius. And Dhafar will be partly cloudy, temperatures between 26 to 21 degrees Celsius.
Welcome back to TTV watching Midday Update. Now before we get into the details of the local stories for the day, let's see how the COVID-19 situation looks like in the Sultanate today. The Ministry of Health in the past 72 hours has announced the registration of 84 death cases due to coronavirus. This has taken the total death toll in the Sultanate to 2,710. The health officials have also extended their deepest condolences to the families of the deceased. Moreover, in the last 72 hours, the Ministry of Health has also announced the registration of 5,320 new coronavirus cases. With this, the total confirmed cases in the Sultanate now stands at 248,043, which includes 218,841 recoveries as well as 2,710 death cases. In the last 72 hours, the Ministry of Health has also announced the registration of 4,961 recoveries. The ministry has urged everyone to adhere to social distancing instructions issued by the Supreme Committee and the Ministry of Health in the country. And now from a local desk. The Supreme Committee has banned the movement of vehicles and people from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. starting today. All public places and commercial establishments will remain closed as well. The ban will be in effect until further notice. The Supreme Committee has confirmed that all health sector institutions led by the Ministry of Health will continue to implement the National Immunization Program. It has also called on the relevant target groups to take the initiative to get vaccinated to protect themselves, their families, and the rest of the society from coronavirus. The committee also commended those committed to adhering to precautionary measures but expressed surprise at the persistent non-compliance and continuation of gatherings by some. However, the Supreme Committee has announced that home delivery will be allowed during the movement ban starting this evening. Activities and categories that were exempted during earlier closures will be permitted this time as well, which includes healthcare workers, emergency vehicles and emergency services shall only transport electricity and water, private hospitals, pharmacies through the night as organized by the Ministry of Health, movement in ports and airports, trucks of 3 tons and above, water tankers and sewage transport tankers, working in factories, though employees are allowed to move outside the factory during the ban. Loading and operations in factories and warehouses, with employees not allowed to move outside the factory or warehouse during the ban. Gas stations with a shift system led by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry and Investment Promotion in coordination with marketing companies, oil and gas fields, and lastly, workers in public and private press and media institutions whose nature of work requires them to be at these institutions during the period of the ban with a license from the Ministry of Information. The General Directorate of Health Services in Muscat Governorate has announced the postponement of the drive-through COVID-19 vaccination service today. The service will be suspended until further notice based on the decision of the Supreme Committee to ban the movement of vehicles from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. starting Sunday, the Directorate said. Now, bed occupancy of COVID-19 cases at Sultan QABOOS University Hospital has reached 220% with over 170 new admissions. According to the latest update issued by Sultan QABOOS University Hospital, in the last 24 hours, 6 patients have been admitted to the hospital. The total admission requiring assisted ventilation in intensive care units reached 35 with 167% rate of COVID-19 bed occupancy and 22 people on non-invasive mechanical ventilation at occupancy of 220%. The hospital added 38 of the total number of admissions in COVID-19 wards did not require assisted ventilation. Now, people in the Sultanate of Oman aged 45 and above can now book their COVID-19 vaccine appointments at the nearest vaccination center, the Ministry of Health has announced. The move comes as part of efforts to vaccinate additional target groups in society as part of the national campaign for immunization against COVID-19. People in these target groups can go to the Oman Convention and Exhibition Center, commonly known as OCEC, where vaccines are being administered, as well as at the health center in Quriyat. All visitors to health centers and vaccination sites are requested to adhere to the required preventive measures. While the opening of the OCEC vaccination center, other sites in the vilayats of Matra, Bosher, Seeb, and Amirat that are used to distribute vaccine to the population will be closed. We have completed all the required procedures for operating the center in cooperation with the OCEC, Royal Oman Police, and Directorate General for Scouts and Guides, said Dr. Thamra bin Said Al Ghafriya, the Director General of Health Services in Muscat. Vaccination centers in the above vilayats will be closed with the exception of Al Sahil Health Center in Quriyat. Target groups can now book advanced vaccination appointments either through the website, which is www.covid19.moh.gov.om, or through the Tarassut Plus application before going to the approved government centers for immunization across the various governorates of the Sultanate. Secondly, just a while ago, it was announced that people who have received 1 dose of the vaccine against COVID-19 outside Oman can take the second dose here, provided that the vaccine is registered in Oman. According to the Ministry of Health, that if they have received the first dose of a vaccine that is not registered in Oman, they must wait 3 months from receiving the dose and then be given 2 doses of any vaccine registered in the Sultanate. It's time for a quick commercial break, but don't go anywhere as we have more updates coming your way from a local desk. TTV. You're watching Midday Update. Now continuing with the local stories for the day. The timing of administration of COVID-19 vaccine for people aged 45 years and above at vaccination centers in Muscat Governorate have been amended. The Director General of Health Services in the Governorate of Muscat announces an amendment in the timings of giving COVID-19 vaccines in line with the decisions of the Supreme Committee to deal with the COVID-19 for the age group 45 and above in vaccination centers, according to the executive plan of the second phase of the national campaign against COVID-19, starting from today, June 20th, in the following sites only. 1. Oman Convention and Exhibition Center from Sunday to Thursday between 8 a.m. and 6 p.m. and on weekends from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. 2nd, Al Sahel Health Center in the Wilayats of Quriyat from Sunday to Thursday between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. The Directorate General of Health Services in Muscat Governorate said in a statement. It also added that everyone who has self-registered and got an appointment after 5 p.m. can come to the vaccination centers during the above-mentioned working hours. The ongoing vaccination campaign at OCEC is only for Omani citizens aged 45 and above and does not include free vaccinations for expatriates from the target group, an official from the Ministry of Health has said on Sunday. The official confirmed to the Times of Oman that the vaccination campaign at the Oman Convention and Exhibition Center does not include expatriates aged 45 years and over, and that the online application for pre-registration accepts entries from Omanis only. The expatriates must take the vaccination according to the arrangements made by the institution in which they work. Now, children as well as elderly will not be allowed into Matra market as part of precautionary measures taken to stop the spread of COVID-19. A number of other decisions have also been taken by Muscat municipality concerning the Matra market for fish, fruits and vegetables. Temperature checks will be carried out for all entrants to the market. Those with a body temperature of more than 37.5 degrees Celsius will not be permitted to enter, as will those who aren't wearing masks. Visitors to the market are also required to maintain a distance of at least 1.5 meters and must enter and exit the premises through only the one gate designated for this purpose. Proper ventilation must be put in place, and the market will also only run at 30% customer capacity. Furthermore, workers must adhere to the requirements and preventive measures to halt the further spread of COVID-19, which includes wearing face masks and disposable gloves and the frequent cleaning of display counters and surfaces. Customers are requested not to touch the fish on display within the market and be required to view all produce from a distance, which will be maintained through barriers erected from unused display tables. This was all from the local desk for the day. Let's take a quick commercial break, but don't go anywhere as we have more updates coming your way from our international desk. Welcome back to TTV, watching Midday Update. And now from International Desk. Britain reported more than 10,000 new coronavirus cases for a third consecutive day on Saturday, as there has been a 79% rise in the highly contagious Delta variant in the country in the past week. Britain has reported another 10,321 coronavirus cases in the latest 24-hour period, bringing the total number of coronavirus cases in the country to 4,620,968, according to official figures released on Saturday. The country also recorded another 14 coronavirus-related deaths. The total number of coronavirus-related deaths in Britain now stands at 127,970. These figures only include the deaths of people who died within 28 days of their first positive test. There has been a 79% rise in the highly contagious Delta variant, first identified in India in the past week, and cases have been above 10,000 for 3 days in a row. The increase across Britain is being driven by younger age groups, many of whom have now been invited for a vaccination as the jab rollout extends to anyone aged 18 and over. Hospital cases have almost doubled, although most of those needing treatment have not had a vaccine. Earlier on Saturday, a British government advisory scientist said a new wave of infections is definitely underway in England. The recent data published by Public Health England showed that AstraZeneca vaccine is 92% effective against hospitalization from the Delta variant after 2 doses, and the Pfizer vaccine is 96% effective against hospitalization after 2 doses as well. The third wave of COVID-19 in India was inevitable and could hit the country in the coming next to 8 weeks, Director of India's premier health institute, All India Institute of Medical Sciences in New Delhi, Dr. Randeep Guleria said on Saturday. According to Dr. Guleria, India's main challenge remains to vaccinate a huge population. He said that unless we are vaccinated, we are vulnerable in the coming months. Only about 5% of the Indian population has been vaccinated with 2 doses of COVID-19 vaccine so far, although the government aims to vaccinate the entire population by the end of this year. Dr. Guleria said that as we have started unlocking, there is again a lack of COVID-19 appropriate behavior. We don't seem to have learned from what happened between the first and the second wave. Again, crowds are building up, people are gathering. It will take some time for the number of cases to start rising at the national level. He suggested mini lockdowns in any part of the country which witnesses a surge and a rise in positivity rate beyond 5%. India's COVID-19 tally rose to 29,823,546 on Saturday, with 60,753 new cases recorded in the past 24 hours. This was the 12th consecutive day when less than 100,000 daily cases were registered across the country, after peaking to over 400,000 for several days in April and May. The death toll now stood at 385,137. While many countries in the world are fearing the third wave of COVID-19, German ambassador to India, Walter J. Linder, on Saturday cautioned that a fourth wave may arise as COVID numbers of potentially more transmissible and vaccine-resistant variants, especially Delta variant, are growing in many countries. In a tweet, Linder said number of COVID cases are falling in parts of Europe, so some measures are being relaxed. At the same time, case numbers of potentially more transmissible and vaccine-resistant variants, especially Delta, are growing in many countries and cause fear of a fourth wave which could reverse the achieved. Speaking about easing of travel restrictions, he said lifting restrictions on travel from virus mutation countries is not an easy case to make, adding that the job of virologists and health experts is to protect their own citizens against the next wave. It's time for a quick commercial break, but stay tuned as we have more updates coming your way from a sports desk. Welcome back to TTV watching Midday Update. And now from a sports desk. Hungary produced a brave defensive performance to cling on for a 1-1 draw against France on their Group F game on Saturday. France was guilty of missing chances in the first half, with Kylian Mbappe and Karim Benzema especially guilty, and Attila Fiola making them pay for their profligacy when he scored on a rare Hungarian break in first half injury time. Antoine Griezmann leveled up from the heart of the box in the 65th minute, but despite keeping the pressure on as the Hungarians were visibly tired, France was unable to find a winner, thanks partly to Hungarian keeper Peter Gulacsi. The French then suffered an injury setback when substitute Ousmane Dembele limped off with a hamstring injury in the closing moments. With this news, we have come to the end of the episode for today, but stay tuned as we'll be back again tomorrow with more updates and latest news your way. Keep watching TTV.
You've just heard the live feed from the TTV studios on TFM 95.4. Let's talk.